Trigger Spoons, Trigger Spoon Magnums, Trigger Spoon Pros, Trigger Spoon Juniors, Speed Spoons, Speed Spoon Pros. Looking for spoons for your trout fishing adventure? Think FHS Spoons. You can check them out at fishhuntshoot.com. Howdy guys, Kel Kellogg here. Let's talk about fishing Lake Berryessa. I've gotten 2 requests this week for recommendations on tackle specifically for fishing Lake Berryessa. And while I don't fish Lake Berryessa a ton right now, in the past I have fished that lake a great deal. It is a first-rate rainbow trout lake. There are good numbers of kings in the lake. And of course there's a kokanee fishery, but we're not going to be talking about that today. Before I get into the lures that I would use and the approaches I would take to Lake Berryessa, I want to tell you about a couple of actually 3 of my favorite spots for different species. Just put them in your data bank. They don't always pay off, but often they do. Spot number 1 for good sized rainbows and king salmon. You come out of the narrows, use your sonar. There's a hump out there just outside the mouth. That spot notoriously holds king salmon, and I've also caught some nice rainbows there, and I've caught a couple very nice kokanee there, one of which I was out with Renee Villanueva years ago, and we caught a big kokanee there rolling shad for kings. So that hump holds some very nice fish. Back inside the narrows, let's say you're entering the narrows from the main lake. Look to your left side, you'll see that big rock slide there. Well, deep water goes right up adjacent to the shoreline there. And I've never done numbers there, but I have caught some very large rainbows and some really nice kings there. I think my top rainbow there is about 4.5 pounds. My top king there is about 4 pounds. And I've also caught some 20+ inch kokanee right there as well. That spot, for me anyway, it kicks out big fish. Doesn't kick out big numbers of fish, but whenever I'm on Berryessa, I always make a pass or 2 on that spot just because it's been so good to me over the years. Final spot for kings and for rainbows is out there in front of the dam, and that big cove area in front of the dam. Everybody fishes that, but I've done really well on kings there, and I've had some great times there top lining for rainbows in the dead of winter. So let's get into the baits. Both of these guys wanted me to recommend baits from my lineup. They fish Lake Berryessa a lot, and they wanted to know how I'd approach the lake and what my best lures were out on Lake Berryessa. And I would start out fast. Lake Berryessa is a shad lake. The kings, the rainbows, they make a living by eating shad. I would start out very fast, very aggressive with speed spoons, just like those. Anywhere from 2.7 to 3 miles an hour. I would cover ground, work some structure. If the surface temperature is 65 degrees or less, and if you have a little chop particularly, I would run one of these speed spoons back about 200 feet right under the chop. Just top line it. And you're probably going to pick up some fish fast and aggressive early in the morning, and as long as you got chop on top of the water. Along with that spread of spoons, I would also mix in some of my Magnum metalhead bait fish imitating flies. Okay, these troll very well at high speeds. They were designed for high speed trolling. I'd go with the whites, I'd go with the blues. Blue is a very good color at Lake Berryessa for all the species out there, including bass. So blue is always a great option at Berryessa, but just something that looks shaddy. So that would be my spread for 2.7 to 3 miles an hour. I would work the depths. I would be aggressive. I'd work the points, the drops, all that stuff. I'm looking for fish. I'm looking for marks. I'm taking their temperature. I'm seeing, am I catching fish? Maybe I'm catching fish and the bite turns off. Maybe I'm marking fish, but I'm not catching fish. That tells you, those 2 situations tells you that it's time to slow down. So take the speed spoons off. And again, I'm running the bait fish pattern stuff here, the chromes, the coppers. My favorite, this is one of the pros. This is the clown color. So bait fish pattern stuff. But it's time to slow down. When you stop getting hits on these, or you can't get hit on these and you found some fish, it's time to slow down. And I am just going down in size, down in speed. I'm going to leave one of those metal heads on. Okay, I'm going to cut my speed down anywhere from about 2.4 to about 2.7. I'm still going to move fairly quickly. Again, it's a shad lake. When the fish are feeding at Berryessa, they typically want to get it on. So I would slow down a little bit. I would keep a metal head in the water. Just slow it down. It'll still work at those speeds. They're very versatile. And I would toss in a couple of my trigger spoons. Again, then we're talking 2.4 to 2.7. And I would run these. I'd work the depths where I saw the marks, work the depths where I was getting hit if the bites kind of dried up. And again, bait fish stuff, chromes, coppers. You know, if you've got some of the Trigger Spoon Pros, go with those blues, stuff like that. Stuff that looks like shad, okay? So that's my medium speed range. Now, if you're out there and it's tough or it's glassy and none of that aggressive stuff is spark and strikes for you, two things have consistently produced kings and rainbows for me at Berryessa when the bite's a little bit tough. This is a #1 offering right here. I would rig up one of my 6-inch fisheye dodgers. It's got that moon crackle tape on it. You could use a sling blade, whatever, but you know, out of my lineup, I'm using a 6-inch fisheye just like that. Color, up to you. I love the rainbow. You can run with the chrome, whatever. It's a dodger, okay? 2.5 dodger links behind that. I am going to run a shad tube like that or a minnow tube like that. Notice that chrome and white. Another great choice would be a minnow tube in the blue and kind of smoke color. But the #1 choice, definitely the shad tube, because it has that awesome shaddy profile. Okay. I'm going to run that 2.5 dodger links behind the blade. I'm going to run anywhere from 1/8 to 2 miles an hour, kind of tune in that action beside the boat. And if you think there's kings around, or even if there's not, I would strongly suggest that you tip that tube with a little piece of anchovy skin. It just adds some scent, adds some flavor, helps close the deal. That works very well. You can fish it off a downrigger anywhere from 10 feet deep to as deep as you need to go. This rings the dinner bell. It sounds like a big fish feeding. They come in looking to find a shad. Guess what? They see that tube back there, you know, working behind that dodger. They grab it, fish on. You're a happy guy. I'd rig this up on a rod or two if I had a partner. And then on my other rods, I would run shad pattern Trigger Spoon Juniors. Again, 1.8 to 2 miles an hour. Lucy's back there right over my shoulder barking at the neighbors. She knows the neighbors, but she still barks at them every day. Anyhow, that's about the size of it for Berryessa. That's how I would approach the lake this winter, this fall, all the way into spring. Start out fast and aggressive, slow down when you have to. I'm gonna go yell at that dog. That's about all I got for now. If you're looking for gear for Lake Berryessa or wherever your travels happen to take you, get on over to fishhuntshoot.com. We've got what you're looking for. That's my Berryessa strategy. Not unlike the strategy I would use at places like Folsom and Shasta and Don Pedro and everywhere else. I'm gonna go yell at Lucy. I'll catch you next time right here on YouTube, guys. You have a wonderful day.